Truth Podcast. Hashtag truth. Speaking truth. Yeah, we'll never back down. Hashtag truth. Shining light on the underground. Hashtag truth. Uncovering what they don't want known. Hashtag truth. Uncovering what they don't want known. Hashtag truth podcast. We're never alone.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Hashtag Truth. Tonight, we have the one, the only, the owner of School of Morton, Mr. James Strange. How you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing great, Scott. I'm glad to hear you're doing a little better.
I am doing a little bit better. Not jumping up and jumping any fences or anything or running any races, but I'm doing a little better. So we're going to get into School of Morton and all that here in a little bit, but I want to ask you about your wrestling career and all these fine people who are coming in and watching right now. If they have any questions or comments, just hit them over there in the comment section and we'll get them up on the screen. So how long have you been in the business, sir, and how did you get started in the wrestling business?
I started in 1986, and I was trained by a guy in Morristown, Nick, the Wild Samoan.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And he had a few other guys he was training at the time. Mark Kyle had already started, Killer Kyle.
Okay.
He was one of his guys. And, that's how I got started. Got beat up pretty bad for a while and just where, the business was still very secretive and, protected then.
Right. They understood kayfabe back in those days.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, big time.
Nowadays, I think the internet kind of killed that off. And it's sad, too, because I think the last person that I know of that really did kayfabe throughout his whole career until it ended was The Undertaker.
Yeah, or the Stomper, the Mongolian Stomper. He was great at it, too.
Yeah, there wasn't too many of them. I mean, you know what I mean? Nowadays, everybody knows everything about all the wrestlers. It's kind of weird, because of social media and everybody's following everybody and taking pictures and cameras are everywhere now. They don't have.
But actually, a couple old names that actually really got me started was Carol Dickerson in Greenville and a guy named Cecil Dotson. And Cowboy Williams and some old names there. And then I happened to meet Nick, and then he really actually trained myself and a couple other guys to actually work.
Wow.
I bought a wrestling ring. What now?
How long did you wrestle?
Well, for years, but I had stopped for a while. I got out of it and then really started promoting wrestling. And then I didn't work a lot. I did more promotion, commentary, that kind of stuff, behind the scenes stuff for years and years. Back in I've had matches over the years. I worked 2 or 3 years in Tennessee when I moved back to East Tennessee. I lived in Charlotte, North Carolina for many years.
Okay.
South Carolina.
So you've been back and forth from North Carolina to Tennessee, basically.
Yeah, I was in the military for a while. We came to Tennessee, and then we moved to Charlotte. And I lived over there for 20 plus years, and then we decided to move back to Tennessee, East Tennessee. And I've been in wrestling. It's like Bud Adams used to say, wrestling's got a hold on me. You just can't get out of it once it gets a hold of you. Right.
I put a big post up on my page because I'm a podcaster. I have been for 6 years. And, I've interviewed over 500 people, and it's just amazing. I realized that to some people, wrestling is a lifestyle. It's not just, something that they, I imagine with you owning companies throughout the years, and we'll talk about that your life kind of evolves around the companies, don't they?
A lot. A lot. My wife would tell you she hates wrestling.
My wife isn't too keen on wrestling, but she knows I enjoy it, so she goes to shows with me and stuff like that. So
Well,
I
mine
love
supported
that.
me big time. She loved it
Right.
today. I'll just say that. It's an inside joke, but she loved wrestling today.
Okay. So when did you go from wrestler to the promotion side, like owning a
Well,
company?
I started out with a guy named Ricky Harrison, and
Okay.
this was in the late 80s. And I did a group there in East Tennessee called Southern States Wrestling
Okay.
and ran for 2 or 3 years. And then we decided to move to Charlotte, so we shut down. But, I had Harrison and a bunch of guys, and we worked, all over East Tennessee and Greenville, Elizabeth and Flag Pond, Irwin,
Right.
all those little towns.
So did you move? Did you move to Charlotte because of the bigger town? More people would notice your
No,
product.
I moved there for work.
Okay, well that makes sense. Well, it's kind of killing two birds with one stone, though, right? I mean, wherever you moved from to Charlotte, I'm pretty sure Charlotte was bigger, right?
Oh yeah, it was. I didn't do any wrestling for a few years after we left, and then when we moved to Lancaster, South Carolina, which is probably 40 minutes south of Charlotte directly,
Okay, right,
and that's when I started a wrestling there called United Championship Wrestling. We did UCW, which I had Jimmy Valiant. Jimmy Valiant actually booked the show. Him and Bruiser Graham, if you know who Bruiser Graham is.
You're
And
talking old school names down here. I wish I did. I'm gonna look up. I'm gonna write them all down and look them up as you're saying them
yeah,
because I love doing my homework.
he has a group, Bruiser Wrestling Federation in Virginia. Bruiser does.
Okay.
So we ran there for many years, once a month, and had television. We actually had broadcast TV. And a lot of the guys that you may know, AJ Frost and Mac Truck, and a bunch of those guys out of South Carolina that worked with Jay Eagle, Nick Fury, they were just kids. I think Nick was 16 years old and he's like 40 something now.
Okay.
A lot of those guys were just young kids at the time.
Right. Wow. We got some people coming in watching. Luke Childers said, hello, gentlemen. He is another podcaster. He does The Bottom Line. Great podcast. You guys go check him out. Missy Childers said, did you use Italian Stallion?
I did not. George South.
Now, when you had those companies like, in Tennessee and in Charlotte and that, we're talking still, there was still, it was still back when there was territories.
Yes.
So, I mean, did you get a coalition with the territories? I mean, back in those days, a lot of companies work together where it's totally different these days. Did you work with a lot of the local companies that were around you?
No, we did. There wasn't a whole lot of other, especially in that area in Lancaster and South Carolina, because of the athletic commission.
Right.
There weren't a lot of groups. I mean, Jay Eagle's the only one I can actually think of, and I mean, he ran for
Jay Eagle's company is still running under different, leadership.
Yeah, different ownership. I know. I've talked to Jay. Jay's a good man.
Yeah, it's changed names like 4 times in the last couple of years, but it's still a great place to go watch wrestling. Still a great place to go, and hone your skills if you're young and up and coming. I love the company. Luke Fury said, hello, James.
What's up, Luke? No show, Luke.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Do I remember the foundation?
Yeah, she wants to know, do you remember the foundation from APW?
I don't know. I don't remember. It's a lot of years, a lot of water under the bridge.
So let me ask you, when you started doing this promotions and you had these wrestlers, who was your favorite wrestler to put on the card? Who is your favorite person that always showed up, showed out, and stole the show?
Well, yeah, with UCW, obviously my best angle we ever did was Mack Truck and Killer Kyle.
Okay.
And I drew some pretty big houses. I know we drew 1,000 people at a little school there in Lancaster, and yeah, I drew very well. Made some really good money with that. It's a little tougher in East Tennessee with all the you got every 3 miles there's somebody running a show.
Right. I always make the comment that you could throw a rock and hit another company.
Oh yeah. It's not like that in South Carolina. A lot of drama too in East Tennessee, unnecessary drama, which you really didn't. I've never had.
Christian Lee said, "WSP James, love you, boss."
What's up, Christian?
Without a doubt, I'm just. Is it a lot different today running a school or an organization than it was back in the late 80s, early 90s?
Oh, 100%. It's totally different. Totally different.
So I could imagine that the way you would train them, because I've always heard I'm an old school wrestling watcher. I like the old school stuff, okay, more than I do new stuff. So you can understand why I'm asking this, because back in the day, man, you always got these horror stories when you interview somebody who's been in the business 20, 25 years and really got trained by somebody who knew what they were doing. And I'm not cutting anybody down when I say that, but you know what I'm talking about. You hear stories of the first day they had you puking. You couldn't, you had to run stairs for 12 miles and you had to, nowadays you couldn't get a wrestler to do, 1/10 of that. They'd quit.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad, but it was pretty rough. You can imagine Nick will probably weighed 450 pounds and was very agile and could really move, and he would stretch you pretty bad, beat you up. But we normally did 100 squats, 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, run a couple miles, then we get in the ring and go to work. And it was
that right there. Unless you are in pretty good shape, that right there is going to take out a lot of people.
Well, no, that's where guys miss out, man. They can't do a 30-minute match because they don't have the cardio.
Exactly.
The big thing about, and which I can't talk anymore, but I'm 61 years old too, so it's nobody has any cardio. Maybe Roosevelt.
Right. There's a huge difference between back then and now, and from everything I've heard, I only know of now. When I go and watch people train, or if I go to a show early and I see them training before the show, or if certain companies, they have a special night where, they'll bring their kids in and they'll train them, on a certain night. To me, it's a lot different. They do more in-ring training than the cardio and getting there. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. Well, then we weren't called independent wrestlers. They were called outlaw. The independent indie stuff came in later. Yeah, we were called outlaw wrestlers.
Okay. I wonder why they called you outlaw wrestlers. That's kind of weird to me. I've never heard anything but independent. So you're teaching me something here. Why would they call you outlaws?
Well, because we weren't like the territory groups. Then Ron Fuller, I'm pretty sure he was still running Knoxville and some of the air. Continental was in business at the time.
Oh, I love Continental. I grew up watching Continental Championship Wrestling. That was my favorite wrestling.
Well, most of the guys that we worked with all went and worked at Continental and WCW and all those. They did enhancement talent. A lot of them worked the house shows too. Right. Killer Kyle and Paul Lee was part of that group years ago.
Oh man, I loved every bit of Continental. I grew up watching all that, and it was so much fun. I've got all the videos. Right now, they're out in my shed because my room it's gotten a lot smaller. But I could sit and watch Continental Championship Wrestling. Gordon Sully, doing the announcing. Man, I loved him growing up. I wanted to be him, but it never came to fruition. But I'm a podcaster, so it kind of worked out a little bit. The only difference is I don't have a drink underneath my desk like he would, but he loved to have his drink. But when did you own your first school, and when did you think that was feasible for you? When did you think, okay, I've done the wrestling part. Now I want to own something and try to make money off of this.
I went to Jimmy Valiant. I went to Jimmy Valiant and asked him if I could use his name, and he said yes. So I opened up Boogie South, which was in Lancaster. I've trained probably 20 guys out of that group that we had there. Some of them are still working. A lot of them are older now.
Right.
So they're not working. But I think there's one kid that still works in Spartanburg.
Okay.
But he went as gravel at the time when we worked.
Okay.
And he worked with another guy who doesn't wrestle anymore. They were called The Last Resort.
Okay. I got you.
Jimmy came in, and they would come in one night a week. We trained every night, but Jimmy would be there one night a week and train the boys. And then we would.
I'm not laughing at you, sir. I'm laughing at some of the comments. I'm going to get to them right quick.
I can't see them.
Yeah, I'm going to put them up here. Some of these are funny as all get out. Missy said, yes, we just watched that Sunday, Mack Truck and Killer Kyle. So there you go. There's still people watching it. Marv, my dad said, how did you handle the people who came into training and they couldn't? How did you handle the people when you knew they couldn't handle it?
You talking about how do you handle?
Yeah, when they came in to do the exercises and stuff like that, and you just saw
they go away.
They go away.
They go away on their own.
Okay.
So
you didn't have to fire.
You don't have to get rid of anybody. They go away on their own.
Okay.
I do have a real funny story about a kid who came in, and he told us he'd been trained by Ricky Steamboat.
Okay.
And I kind of knew. I didn't think Ricky Steamboat had trained really anybody. He didn't do that. So I got in the ring with him and locked up with him. I knew right away he couldn't work. So then about 2 nights later, we're having a match, and he blades and cuts himself and bleeds during the training. And I about freaked out. I'm like, what the hell are you doing?
He cut himself during training?
Yes. We didn't know he was going to do it. And I was like,
why would you juice yourself during a training match? That's ridiculous.
He's an idiot. Yeah, the guy's name that was gravel, that's right. It was Bryce Anthony.
It was Bryce Anthony?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, we have somebody who just mentioned Bryce. Let's get to it. Chris Thunder Anderson said Outlaw Wrestling back then was anything but the main companies.
Yeah, that's the truth. That's it.
Okay. So it's not like today where, every company is not a main company. There's, 100 companies around and maybe 3 main companies.
Oh shit, there's 500 independent companies in East Tennessee.
Wow. I believe that.
I'm being facetious, okay?
Yeah, well, it seems like that, though, don't it?
Oh yeah.
I know North Carolina's got to be getting up there, man. I mean, it's almost like churches. You can't go half a mile without hitting a wrestling company. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Thanks for saying Bryce Anthony, but it is Bryce Anthony.
Well, Joshua Holland came on here and said Bryce Anthony is one of those graduates.
I'm curious how he knew that.
I don't know, Joshua. How did you know that? Christian Lee wants to know, would you come out of retirement for one more match?
Oh, yeah, to whoop Christian's ass, I would definitely do it.
I love that.
And when he needs to get ass whooping.
He does. He needs a few. Get him on right track. Caleb Crocker, one of my favorite wrestlers right now, said, I bench 1,500 pounds, 10 sets of 10 reps for breakfast. He wishes he could live 15 pounds for that long. But anyway, Scotty Black said, the days of the spoilers 1 and 2, James Strange and Bud Adams, missed those days. Love the days in Lancaster. What's up, James?
What's up, Scotty? Hey,
Wow.
he remembers the Greek.
So James Strange and Bud Adams missed those days. So was Bud your tag team partner, or?
Bud was the original spoiler. He's had a couple other partners, and I don't remember their name. One of them was a guy who played Terry Garvin.
Okay.
And the other guy's name was Lou, and I don't remember Lou's last name.
I didn't even put 2 and 2 together. The days of the spoilers 1 and 2. Okay, I get it now. It went right past me when I first read it. I was thinking of like spoilers, like, you know, giving somebody's name out or something, but that's the name of the wrestlers. Okay, I got it. I'm okay. Really, I am.
Yeah, I know who Joshua Holland is now. He put his work.
Missy said, come on, James, tell us this kid's name. And we already got it figured out. And Christian said, I did nothing. What are you talking about? And he's laughing about it. That's the problem. That's why he wants to beat you up, man. He wants to get you, going. Joshua Holland said, I know James. He knows me as Josh Steinborn, not Holland. We had the conversation about Bryce years ago on the phone. I wouldn't knew if he hadn't have told me.
I don't remember the kid that bled. I don't have a clue. That's been 30 years ago.
But do you remember Josh Steinborn?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Very much.
Yeah. Josh Steinborn is one of the guys who brought me into independent professional wrestling and liking it, because him and another guy were partners at EWF. And that's when I started watching independent wrestling. So that's kind of cool. Scotty Black said, yes, the Golden Greek, the gorgeous Golden Greek. Whatever happened to those great names like that, man? The gorgeous Golden Greek. There's no names like that anymore in wrestling. Everything's got to be, I don't know how to put it, but it's like, they ran out of ideas or something. Brittany Diamond said Terry Sims. I think she's trying to get Terry Sims to come and watch. Chris Thunder Anderson said everyone loved Greek. Oh, Missy said, I want to know the kid that bled. He told you that. It was Bryce Anthony.
No, it wasn't Bryce.
Oh, it wasn't Bryce?
I
thought it was Bryce.
I couldn't remember. I don't remember what the kid's name was. He didn't last. He didn't last.
Oh, okay. I'm always
Terry Sims was Terry Garvin.
Okay.
You're right, Brittany.
Missy said, guys are too bad but to have names like that anymore. I used to love listening to the old school names, like Bruiser Brody and things. It made them sound tough. Nowadays, the names don't even make you sound tough. I mean,
okay, Brittany might know. What was Lou's last name?
Terry Sims was Terry Garvin. Oh, okay.
Yeah, who was Lou? What was Lou's last name?
What was Lou's last name?
Yeah,
Brittany,
she may know.
Yeah, Brittany, what was Lou's last name? Do you know? So how many companies, what company started all for you when you decided to get a company, and how many companies have you owned all the way up until SOM?
Well, we had Southern States Wrestling there in East Tennessee.
Okay.
And then I had United Championship Wrestling. Then I had another group called ICW, Impact Championship Wrestling, which I actually did that with the help of Thomas Simpson, Crazy K, and some of those guys. My son wanted to do that. That was kind of short-lived. Then we moved home, and I kind of got out of it. I actually sold all my equipment. And
What year was that?
2000, probably 2000,
Okay.
2001. And then I was a member of the NWA, and we had NWA Rocky Top out of Knoxville, which I had a lot of names. We had Jimmy Golden, who actually booked, him and Tom Pritchard actually booked the show.
Oh man, you talk about two of my favorite wrestlers, two of a bunch of my favorite wrestlers growing up were them. Dr. Tom Pritchard, boy, I'll tell you, you couldn't mistake him when he came out with the dread. You know, he came out with the Goldilocks hairdo. You couldn't mistake him. You know, he was a great wrestler, and he has a great school. I love when people ask me, you know, what schools should you go to? That's one of the first ones that I will point a wrestler in is Tom Pritchard's school.
Yeah, but, Tom, we had a lot of fun. That was we had a backer that was giving us money, and unfortunately, our backer went bankrupt. So we lost our backer. We had broadcast TV in Knoxville. I mean, we really were killing it with that whole thing. Had the Midnight Express, had Bobby and Dennis, and Buddy Landell, Robert Fuller. You know, we had John Noble, Brad Thomas. I'm trying to think, the Turbinators, which I'm horrible with names.
You're reading our minds here, because Missy just asked, James, do you know the Terminators, Rex and Spice? So,
well, me and another guy, David O. I don't know if you know who David O is, but
no, I'm learning all this from you, sir. This is
he was history. He was an older wrestler. Me and him were tag team partners too, and we were called the Terminators. We wore masks. We wrestled all over. We wrestled for Nelson Royal in Atlantic Coast when the Mid-Atlantic kind of shut down. WCW took over.
Right.
Yeah, and it was the guy, one of the Terminators, his last name is Anderson.
Okay. So you're talking about the time where the territories were starting to dwindle at that time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they were starting to go away.
They were starting to go away because of Vince McMahon and cable TV and all that good stuff, which I'm sad about. I wish they'd bring back territories, man. I missed that.
We did Rocky Top in 2005. So it's been almost 20 years ago now.
Right.
But we packed out the Expo Center in Knoxville. Big show. I think we had 700 people there, which was, a pretty good draw.
That's a great draw for the area where I'm at. If any show gets 700 people, that's.
We had Terry Landell ran a free show across the street and had probably 20 names on it, and he had 10 people there. God rest his soul.
Wow. That's now, was that because he didn't promote it well, or the wrestlers didn't promote it?
No, he was just trying to run up against us straight up.
I got you.
That's what he said. There's so many idiots in East Tennessee.
So, Mr. Strange, let me ask you this. When you had, now I know back in the 80s and 90s you had to do it this way, but with SOM nowadays, do you still do the old school promoting? I'm talking about, do you still go and hang up posters? Do you still, go out word of mouth, talking, having wrestlers go to places and
we do
hand out stuff?
We put out posters and we, advertise on social media,
right?
That kind of stuff. But that's about it.
Oh, wow. I love the old school way of like going to a mall or going to a store and hanging out in front of a store and having wrestlers, dressed up in their gear, hanging out, handing out the, they might have their merch table in front of them, but they're actually handing out posters for the show they're going to be at, signing autographs and such. That would bring me to a wrestling show quicker. I guess I'm old school. I'm an old school fan, because that's what I love to see. And it's almost a lost art nowadays.
Yeah, it's true.
There is a lot of people. Wow. Luke wants to know, do you know the Power Crew, Bubba Brooks and Steve Stasiak?
No. I probably do, and I don't remember. Marvin Larson wants to know who's the craziest person I've ever trained. A guy called the Impaler.
Oh, you're seeing him now. Who's the craziest person you
Who
trained?
had his own? He had his own casket.
So he did a gimmick sort of like the Undertaker, but he had his own.
Bryce
casket.
Anthony would know who he is. Okay, he's passed away, but he was absolutely thought he was a vampire. If you go back and watch a lot of the UCW stuff, Michael Elliott took all of my tapes and put them on DVD, and he put them up on YouTube. United Championship Wrestling. If you go look at it, you can see. And I think you have to put South Carolina at the end of it to pull it up, but
right,
you might get to see him on some of the shows. He was called the Impaler. That was his name, and we let him roll with it.
I'm definitely going to go check it out because I love watching, and getting to learn. The more I learn, the more fun this is for me. That's why I'm asking a ton of questions about.
Well, some of the stuff at UCW was really good, and some of it was horrible. There were some really horrible matches on there. But we did the old school.
Was that because the wrestlers weren't trained up right, or just?
Yeah, a lot of them were not. We used a lot of guys from Spartanburg and some of the other areas. I mean, there was some good stuff. There was some of it was pretty weak,
Okay. Brittany said she does not remember Lou's last name.
No help, Brittany.
Joshua said, give us a good David Isley story. He was one of my favorite local talent guys in the Carolinas, and you just always seem so humble.
Yeah, I really don't have a good story about David. I really
is it that he just wasn't a good guy, or
no. I'm not saying that. I just don't have a story about him. I know him.
Missy wants to know, is SOM coming back to WNC?
We are. We'll be back probably in the spring at Hunter Power Sports when they have their first bike night. We had to cancel the other show we were doing because of the hurricane.
Right.
So we will be back.
Okay. So we're going to fast forward a little bit past, all the companies. We're going to get to the one you own right now. How did you get involved, and how did you become involved in School of Morton? How did you?
Obviously, we had the school
with Jimmy Valiant.
Yeah, obviously we had the school with Jimmy Valiant, so I needed somebody local. So I called Ricky Morton and asked him if he wanted to do a school. So we decided yes, that we would. My son actually came up with the name School of Morton. I hated it at first, and he said, "Nah, man, people will say SOM," and
that's it.
I thought, and then the catchphrase was "Come get some SOM."
There
instead
you
of the E on the end.
Right.
So we did all that, but we sat down and talked at Cheddar's with Ricky.
Okay.
And it took us a whole year to find a building.
Wow. Was it just that you were being picky and you just needed what you wanted and you had to find
we needed something affordable.
Okay.
That we knew we could stay, which it wasn't cheap, but we started out in a small area of the building we had. And my son's built a homemade ring, really. I've still got it. It's up in the school now just as a prop so people can see it. But that was our original ring. And we started there 11 years ago. And, we didn't, when I was in South Carolina, the first night we opened up Jimmy School, I had 25 students that had signed up and, to start. We had
So how many actually graduated the class?
Well, that's another thing. We don't graduate anybody.
Oh, okay.
We don't do that. You just train. And then once you pay 2 or 3 years at $20, it's just according to how much you come.
Okay.
So, we don't do that. Nobody ever really graduates. You can't learn everything.
Well, a lot of people, I agree with you, because a lot of kids nowadays would take that as, I graduated. I don't need to learn anything else. I know it all, right?
Oh, yeah. It's horrible.
But
no, we don't do that.
So
and we teach a lot of different things that a lot of places do not. Okay. And you can ask AJ Kazana, Silas Mason, all those guys came and worked with us, and they learned a ton doing our TV and learning how to work the cameras. I mean, AJ's told me many times that it helped him a ton when he went to NWA and he understood how to work the hard cam and that kind of stuff. So the guys get a lot of extra training, just working our little TV show we do with the production.
So how many trainers do you have there at?
Well, right now it's we have the NWA Women's World Champion Kenzie Page is our head trainer, and then Casey Kazana is another trainer for us.
Okay,
and then we have acting coach Scott Campbell. I'm sorry, Scott Elliott. Okay. Who actually ran the Johnson City Community Theater for many, many years. Okay. And he's really good teaching the guys how to act, what to say, how to say it, and that kind of thing. Plus, we did some really good seminars. I mean, we've had some big ones. We had a TNA tryout. We had an OVW tryout.
Oh, wow.
We had NWA tryout, which the first one we did, we had too many people there and it went way over too long. We had people come from all over, but it was a little bit too much.
So is that these companies coming to you and saying, hey, we want to get some of the local talent together and check them out?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. That is
TNA would have signed Malachi, which he's signed now with NXT. But he came to that camp and they wanted to sign him, but he was underage.
Yeah. I had interviewed Malachi way back when. It was like 3 years ago now. And the difference is phenomenal between back then. When I was interviewing, I think he was 14 or 15 when I interviewed him.
Yeah.
And the leaps and bounds that he has made in the last 3 years is just amazing. He had to have worked very, very hard to get where he's at right now.
He has some talent, that's for sure. Obviously, they know it too. But the
first pay-per-view
was it Scott D'Amore?
Yeah,
I believe Scott D'Amore was running TNA at the time, and he took him aside and said, "Hey, I want to sign you," until he figured out he was underage.
Oh, wow. Yeah, the first NXT pay-per-view that he's on, he's called Javon something now. But the first NXT pay-per-view, he literally did a jump over the corner from inside the ring to the outside of the ring, hit the guy on the outside, and the guy did a tumble over the barricade. It was phenomenal. It blew my mind. I was like, wow. Yeah, Javon Evans. Thank you. His name is Javon Evans in NXT. And he is just one amazing kid to watch. And sky's the limit. I know he's one of them smaller guys. And I'm old school, just like a lot of you guys are, where, to me, you got to have a wrestling body to be a wrestler. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, I'll say this. I had a different vision before COVID. Okay, right. About our students and our show. And I wanted to build our own wrestlers, train our own wrestlers, build our own wrestlers, to have no outside talent come in. We hardly ever booked anybody from outside unless I actually knew them. Yeah, and it pissed a lot of the boys off because and Ricky tried to tell me, hey, man, you can't harness these guys in. You got to let them go work. And right. I just didn't see that. And I had a hell of a lot of issues the first few years because I'd tell them you can't go work here, can't go work there, but they would anyway. And I'd get pissed off at them about it. But yeah, that was a mistake. And, those guys come to train so they can go out and work and, it's having fun. But I had a vision. I wanted to build our own company. Then after COVID, we had kind of a little falling out with some folks. And then I just opened the doors wide open. And we had to open doors.
Which way did you like better? Which way do you like better? Do you like now with the doors wide open, or did you like it back when you were?
I've been a pretty big asshole. Okay, to be truthful.
Hey, but the thing is, you were really wrestling a certain way, though. You know,
I've lightened up. I don't fuss at them, like we used to. And, we have outside people come and work listen, right now, our locker room is probably the best it's ever been.
right.
We've went through some really tough times the last couple of weeks because our announcer and our commentary, Bob Spires,
Yeah,
passed away during the show. And, we were doing our first show and we broke for our break before we taped the second show, and he had a heart attack and passed away. So we just buried him on Friday. So it's been a tough week losing him. I mean, I didn't know how much of an ambassador he was for us. But, he leaves us, and then people are talking about how he was the first person they saw. He was a smile. Bob was just a great guy. We worked together for a while, and that's how we got to know each other. And that was kind of his dream, was to be a wrestling just be involved.
right.
And I told him, I said, at first, you're thinking, well, this guy's a mark. I don't know if I want to deal with him, but I had him come anyway. And, man, he turned out just to he's a super, super guy. We're going to miss him for sure. It's a big hole in our group of guys. But again, we do have the best respectful group of guys I've ever had. I mean, they're just tremendous. We don't have a ton of drama.
Missy said you're so sweet.
Thank you. We don't have a ton of. We used to have a lot of drama. We don't have a lot of drama now.
Right.
I mean, there's more.
We're not going to go over anything, but it seems like you have more drama on the other side of the rails than you do on this side of the rails.
I don't know if it's jealousy, but it seems like they're so worried about what we do. Right. And it's like, worry about your damn self. Quit worrying about SOM. Let us do our thing. We're doing our thing, and leave us alone. That. If you were not here anymore, stay away.
Now, I have to admit, I did not know that SOM existed until one of my really good friends who was a manager, and his tag team ended up at SOM, and that was Ivan M. Righteous and NAV. And that's when I started watching SOM.
I love Ivan, and I'm going to tell you what, the one kid is probably one of the best unsigned wrestlers that I know around.
Yes.
Okay. That kid is unbelievable. And again, I'm sorry, I can't remember his name. That's horrible.
It slipped my mind too. I used to know both of their names just like that. They did intros to my show here and everything. It's crazy. Missy, I know you guys know who is the one hat, the smaller
Nathan
guy
Cross.
in NAV.
Nathan Cross.
Nathan Cross. That's it.
Best unsigned kid around.
Nathan Cross. He's tag teaming with another guy right now and doing.
Yeah, he needs to be a singles. He's listen. He is awesome. That guy is unbelievable. Really, I like him a lot. Okay. He's really good. In fact, him and his partner with Ivan were really great. We had a really good show with them against the Amish.
Yes.
And man, what a match. What a pop they got. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Danny Vegas.
They did some vignettes. You guys,
he was looking for me at the time and did a great job.
The Amish watching over Ivan and all that. I remember the storyline, man. It was must-see TV back then, man. I loved watching that. Christopher Prince, yes, that's who his new tag team partner is. Nathan Cross and Christopher Prince.
Yeah, Nathan's a hell of a hand. He's really good.
Yes, he really is. He is very good. And he's very good with the fans, too. I love wrestlers that are good with the fans. Heel or baby, doesn't matter either way. If you're a heel, you go out there and you make the fans boo you. You say the stuff that makes them boo you. And, but he was just great either way. I mean, he knew exactly how to get, especially in the ring, he knew how to involve the fans. And that's one thing that was special about him. It still is. I'm acting like he's not wrestling anymore. It still is.
He is.
So of all the talent that you've seen come through SOM, give me I won't make you say who was your favorite, but give me a list of your top 5 guys or ladies, because my dad did ask a question here. Let me ask this first. My dad asked, do you have many ladies interested in training?
Yeah, we signed up a new one this morning that's going to start training. Plus, I tell you what, we have another young lady that's at our school that will probably do some really good. She's really awesome, listens. Dara O'Connelly. She's one of our older students that had left and came back, but she's a really good talent. And of course, I think, Kenzie Page will probably be at NXT once her contract runs out at NWA.
Wow.
Probably no doubt about that. I think she'll get signed. Her and her sister both. Her sister's a really good hand too, Kylie.
Yes.
They're both great.
I would love to see that. That would be amazing, without a doubt. So does Ricky do a lot of in-house training with you guys? Because
He does not.
see him wrestling.
He does not. Okay. Ricky does not teach headlocks, lockups. He doesn't teach basics. He's there probably 3 times a month.
Okay.
Okay. And he does the, advanced psychology stuff.
Okay.
And then he does private lessons. He'll come in privately. Obviously, if you want to sign up for private lessons with Ricky, it's at theschoolofmorton.com. He'll walk you through it. We actually have a way you don't even have to pay up front. You can finance it.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you actually have Ricky Morton as your instructor. Wow. That is... Well, are you guys listening out there? You wrestlers, are you listening to what this man is saying over here? Ricky Morton, Hall of Famer, more than one time over, will do instruction, and he'll even finance the payments. What is that? Why is this man not booked like every minute of the day, every hour of the day? He should be turning people away, every 10 minutes on the telephone. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, we had we had a guy from Australia that's coming to, we
guys traveling from Australia to the School of Morton.
Yeah, to come and train.
That is awesome. That is somebody who wants to be in the wrestling business. If you're
we've had guys from all over the world come and train with us.
Really?
And stay for 2 or 3 weeks. So they'd come in. We had a guy from Greece. Wow. We had a guy from Great Britain that came. Another kid who actually came and trained with Tom Pritchard at JPWA, and then he came and worked with us at School of Morton too.
I hope I don't mess this name up, but Primetime Dugat.
Yeah, I hope you're going to be there Sunday, Dugat.
Said, had a great match up there at SOM. Excited to be back.
Yeah, I think he'll be there with us Sunday, I'm hoping.
Okay. Missy said, Vice City Empire was my favorite back in the day, and Mason Dixon Line. Mason Dixon Line were 2 big guys. They were a good tag team, but man, they were.
Is Silas a great wrestler?
Right. RT3. I liked RT3 a lot too.
Okay. You want to get back to my 5 favorite wrestlers?
Yes, let's do that.
Okay. And this guy's unsigned, and I think he's a really good talent, is Anthony Katina.
Okay.
Probably RT3, who has improved amazingly over the, he started with us and he's really good. Yeah, Killer Kyle was at the school a couple weeks ago. Missy just asked.
Right. So you've got Anthony Cato, RT3.
Yeah, Anthony Catino, RT3, Nathan Cross. We got a new young man who's been training with us, and I think he's going to be a really good talent, Devon Belcher.
Devon Belcher, okay.
Yeah.
One more. You got 4.
Gosh, man.
How about young ladies? Do you have a young lady up there
Well,
that's training
if
right
I'm
now?
gonna have a young lady, it'd probably be Dara O'Connelly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's awesome. I like that. I am caught up with everything. Okay. If you guys have any questions or comments for James, please put them in the chat. We'll be happy to put them up. Missy said I would really love to meet him. We have been going back and watching Smoky Mountain. Yes.
I'll have to let you know when he's coming back. They come up and visit.
Joshua Holland said Maverick has to get an honorable mention. He was pretty dang good rip. R.I.P. Yeah.
Well, Maverick, David Warren, a young lady who took pictures for us forever, talked about him. When he passed away, his light just burnt too bright for this world.
Right.
Maverick, when he walked through our doors, it's been many years ago now, but man, I was like, this guy, man, he's 6'5". He was cut up, like chiseled, long hair, had the look. When he got in the ring, he could bump. I mean, he could do everything. Then he could talk and do interviews. He's a guy that should have got signed, but he just had too many demons. We had a WWE tryout, and I had 5 guys I invited. And of course he was late and he was high, and, God rest his soul. I'm not trying to talk about him, but it's like he has all the talent in the world and could go anywhere he wanted to go. And then he screws it up. And, but that's what some of these guys
I hate hearing
man.
stories like that, because that's just, to me, that's talent wasted. And, that hurts the fan. I mean, that hurts me as a fan to hear a story like that,
Yeah. Maverick was a hell of a talent. He really, really was. I'm glad you said that, Josh.
Missy said, we would really love to come soon. Are you looking for new talent?
Yeah, always.
I was going to say, it wouldn't be a school if you weren't looking for talent all the time, right? I remember when Maverick came to TCW, Eddie Roberts said.
Yeah, he went over and worked for Tim Toller. A bunch of our guys did.
My dad, I love it. He said, James, please hook Scott up with some of the ladies. We need them on the #Truth Podcast. It's hard to get young ladies to come on a podcast. It really is.
You should get Dara to come on and talk to you. Sam Street works with us too.
I think I've interviewed Sam Street.
Have you?
I believe I have. If I haven't, I'm definitely going to try. I think I have, though. She was working up at Sam Street was working up at Wasp, I believe, at the time. I could be wrong.
You'll reach out to Evan Tolley and Casey Kazana. They do the booking at the school. I don't do the booking.
Okay. Missy Childress said, do you need videos for the talent?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Contact KC. And obviously, it'd be great to have a match videos or photos.
Okay, I got you. Has there ever been anybody who walked into the School of Morton? I mean, you probably named a couple of them, but that as soon as you saw them, you knew, man, this is a diamond in the rough. This person's going to go somewhere.
Yeah, Maverick.
Yeah, I was going to say, we just said that, but
Nathan Cross.
Nathan Cross. Okay. You really like Nathan Cross, man. You need to get Nathan
I think
Cross
he's a hell of a talent. I really, really do.
You need to get him back up there at SOM, because we would love to see him on a TV quality show. And that's another thing I'd like to ask, man. Whose idea was it to start filming your guys' show and making it the quality that you have it?
Well, how that started, we were in a small part of the building, and Ricky Morton says, we need to do live shows, because I had no intentions of doing any live shows. So Ricky's like, yeah, we got to do live shows. So we did. And we were cramped into this little building, and it was so hot that the floor was, because the building had no air, no heat. So it's cold as hell in the winter, hot in the summer. And, you know, the floor would sweat in the summer, and it'd be so wet back in the dressing room area that you couldn't hardly walk. So we did. And then a guy named Corky McCorkle, who was one of our announcers for a long time, said we were taping our show, that we started taping a show. He's like, man, we should do live, which we don't stream live anymore. Right. But we tape it and then put it up. But we were actually live for many years. I mean, if you watched our show, it was.
When I first started watching it, you guys were live. You guys were live.
But it's very stressful to do the live part of it. So we started doing it every week. You know, that was kind of Corky's idea. So we started that. And then, you know, we would have never had the production we have without a guy named Nathan, who Chad Bartlett brought him in. And he actually got us started and, you know, got Streamlabs going for us and kind of got us on the right track to head in the right direction.
So is he your producer, or do you guys have?
No, he's not with us. He left when the COVID group left us.
I got
okay,
you.
So but we continued on, and have my son actually has really got our production level up now, and too, Scott Elliott's really helped with the lighting and all that kind of stuff from his theater background. He does a really good job of that kind of stuff. Yeah, here's one thing that we actually need. If there's somebody out there that edits video or wants to get into production or builds graphics,
right?
Yeah, please hit us up on School of Morton on Facebook, SOM 505.
Okay. I actually know a couple of people I might hit up for that. I'll clip this out and send it to them.
Yeah, we need some help there.
Okay. So, I mean, do you guys I know you guys do Facebook. Do you do any other
Yeah, we're on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram. We have all those social media.
Have you guys thought about doing a Roku channel?
Well, I'm going to tell you what we have, and the reason we don't do Roku is because, man, they kind of lied to me. I actually bought a channel, and I've got a text while we're on here. I got a text from them saying, I can get you good, but they want to charge you for the storage. Do you understand that we've had, and maybe I was with the wrong company, maybe you can hook me in the right direction, or somebody can, to have a Roku without having to buy storage for video. We have years of video. Right. Okay. Right. I'm talking about years. At one time before COVID, we were probably doing 70 shows a year.
Right.
Okay. Outside and our TV show. So we were really busy. After COVID, we started going to every other week. But so people know, we're going to start doing every week after the Bunkhouse Stampede next Sunday.
Oh, so you guys are going back to weekly?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So that's a lot more wrestling.
Yes.
A lot of wrestlers are going to have to stay home at School of Morton and not go here, there.
Well, we're going to split our crew up. We're doing 2 different groups.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So there'll be 2 separate tapings.
2 separate tapings, 2 separate bookings. Bookers.
Oh, wow.
KC and a couple guys are going to be over one. Evan Tolley and a couple guys are going to be over the other group. So
Luke Childers said Manny Mac would be a good person to get in contact with about your video editing, and I agree 100%.
Okay.
He runs his own company, but that's his real job. That's his shoot job. Is
oh, really?
Do it, yes. So he is really good at it. And she said that's awesome that you're going from 2 to 1, 2 weeks to every week. How much more stressful is it to go from 2 weeks to every week? I mean,
well, it puts a lot of stress on me and my wife because we have to be there every week. So
Do you
right
do
now,
you
I'm training some other folks to do production and that kind of thing, so we don't have to be there.
So are
'Cause
you
I'm
very
trying to
hands-on
take a
when you're
back
there?
seat.
Like, do you walk around and make sure everything's, where it's supposed to be? Or do you have somebody,
No,
like I
we
said,
have
like a
folks
producer
that
or
take over and agent matches. I don't do all that.
okay.
I watch. Normally, I'll go out and sit in the crowd and watch a show.
Well, that's the best place to be, ain't it? To
Well,
watch
yeah,
it.
kind of see who's over and how people are
Exactly.
reacting to our stories. You know.
Exactly. Now, do you have a big team that sits down like WWE that sits down in a room and writes the storylines out, or
We
or do
do.
the wrestlers have a say so in it?
They do. I want everybody to be happy about what they're doing, their gimmicks and that kind of thing. So we have a lot of leeway. I have a couple people that aggravate the hell out of us on Sunday. What am I doing? Blah, blah, blah. Obviously we're going to get to them and tell them, but they'll ask 50 million questions, or
Right.
some of them will act like they'll kayfabe you and babyface you, tell you, oh, yeah, I love what I'm doing. Then they're back in the back bitching about what we got them doing. It never fails. So
Drama in a locker room, never.
no, never, never. But again, I'll say this: I have the best locker room we've ever had.
See, I
Okay,
like that. I
the
like hearing
best.
that. I like hearing
Those
that.
guys love each other. They encourage each other. There's no, we have no drama whatsoever. Okay.
See, I
These
like
guys
that.
really work hard with each other. Again, the only drama we have is everybody else that doesn't come to School of Mortar or has been there and left, and they just are consumed with us. It seems like
Right.
that's all they can talk about.
Right.
And here's what I say about them. I could give two shits. I don't think about them at all. Okay. Don't go away mad. Just go away and stay away.
I got you.
You know?
So what do you think of Dump Truck and Ice Cream Truck? Tell me, those two guys are good friends of mine. What do you think of them guys?
I love them. I think they're great. I'm not real happy with them at this moment, but
Okay.
they're in the shit house with me pretty
Uh-oh.
bad. Okay. But
Uh-oh.
yeah, they're both good guys. And I'm going to say something maybe I shouldn't say. Okay.
Okay.
They're not the greatest workers in the world, but they are over big
Yes.
time. And if we
Very
use
much
them
so
the
over.
proper
I'll
way,
tell you. I
they're
have
part of
never
the
went to a
circus.
show where Ice Cream Truck's music hasn't hit and there's been a pop. I've never been to a show ever. And
Yeah,
I've been to many shows with those two, and they come out, that ice cream music hits, that Ice Cream Truck music hits, and the crowd goes nuts. I don't know what it is about them.
Well, I had my belts on them.
Yes, they had the East Tennessee tag belts.
They
Yes.
did. They
Yes,
did.
they did. And they were very proud of those, sir. Let me tell you, they didn't go anywhere without them. I'll tell you.
I know. I know all about my belts and Ice Cream Truck.
Uh-oh.
That's the
Christian
inside
Lee wants
joke.
to know, what do you think of him in your honest opinion? You better be careful what you ask, man. Go ahead, James.
I don't know what he's wanting me to say.
Christian Lee wants to know what you think of him in your honest opinion.
I love him.
Okay, there you go.
He's a great kid. I mean, he just needs to train and work hard, and he'll be fine. Get out of his own head.
There you go. There you go. And that's a lot of kids nowadays. Not just him, but a lot of kids nowadays. How many people do you think come into School of Morton? Let's give it 1 year from now until a year ago. How many people do you think came into the School of Morton, was there for a little while, and just thought, oh, I'm better than this, and left?
I probably know of two guys.
Well, that's a very good number if only two people have done that, because there's a lot of kids out there who come in.
We've had a lot of people come and go, okay?
Yeah.
I can't even tell you. Some of the people that said, well, I worked a show at School of Morton, I don't even know who they are. I mean, we've had so many people come through our doors. It's crazy. I mean, really, I couldn't tell you everybody that's been through the school, you know.
Missy Childers says, I always tell people your music matters. Your job as a good guy is to get those fans on their feet. Okay.
That's a pretty true statement.
That is, because I'll tell you, there's a guy at HWA who comes out to Old Time Rock and Roll, that song pumps the whole crowd up. So I don't know what it is. Some of them are cheering for him, but a lot of them are just loving the song. So my dad wants to know, how much does having the crowd with you count in where you go in the profession?
Oh, you got to be over. You have to get reactions out of the crowd. You don't have to be the greatest worker.
Right.
But if you can get the reaction out of the people, that's what matters. The guys don't understand that. They're more worried about, oh shit, did I get my move in?
Right.
You know,
That's
it's
one
more
thing
about entertaining people. You know, we're entertainers. They need to understand to entertain the fans. That's what matters the most.
I love to see a wrestling match where you can tell two guys, two gals, four guys, if it's a tag team, four gals, whatever, are working together. And I love a match that's called in the ring. Say what you will. I know I'm a fan and I shouldn't know all that, but to me, it's better if you're in the ring and you call the match, because anything can happen in the ring. And if you call it in the back and you go to, come out to the ring and something happens, what do you do after that? Because it's just going to be confusion. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Is that
that's why they get confused?
Is that one of the things that's taught at School of Morton?
What, talking the match?
Yes. Talking through a match.
You try. Okay, you try.
Yeah, hey.
I mean, do you understand how many finishes I've called, and then by the time they get to the ring, it's changed?
I could imagine. I could imagine.
We had a tag team who Ricky Morton thought a lot of, and they got them on the big time wrestling show at Freedom Hall in Johnson City. Okay. Myself, Jim Cornette, Ron Simmons, and $1 Million Man DiBiase were all standing together.
Wow.
And they're watching the match. Now, these guys are out there representing us. And Ron Simmons is like, Ricky, did you train these guys? Because they want to do their own stuff. They didn't want to do what they were told or how to do. And when they got finished, they went backstage and you could hear Ron screaming at them beyond the curtain.
Oh,
because he was so pissed.
That is one man. That's a big man. I would not want that man yelling at me at all, man. I'd be scared for my life. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Well, and it's they didn't listen. It didn't matter what they were told.
Well, that's the kids that we need to out of wrestling, because that's a shame. Jay Eagle said Nathan Cross's first match was with him.
Well, of course, Jay would try to take credit for him.
Misty said, I'm going to tell you, when Ricky Morton came out at the WrestleCade to save George South and that music hit, I was 16 again, screaming rock and roll. It was awesome. There you go. Luke said, do you believe that some people are better off with a manager?
Oh, absolutely. If the guy can't talk or do an interview, that's why he put somebody with him to talk for him.
There you go. Without a doubt. Without a doubt. And then you got some characters that, and I understand it. You got some characters like the Wild Samoans and things like that all they do is grunt and groan. You got to have a manager to speak for them, because, what are they going to do? Get on the mic and what is that going to do?
Well, a lot of the younger guys don't remember this, but Don Carson was with the Mongolian Stomper. He was great. Right. He was a hell of a talker. He was a wrestler before that, but he never really had a great body or anything. But gosh, man, he could talk. The guy was unbelievable.
Brittany said, "Well, Missy Childers, I do that too. I busted the guy on front of in front of Mrs. Eardrums." I'm lost. I have no idea what that meant. My dad said, "Where do managers really fit in? Where do you think a man?" Well, we just said that when a guy can't talk.
Yeah, and they can get great heat. I mean, if you watch our show, Bronson Garrett is unbelievable
Right.
talking and getting.
IMR used to
talking
get heat all the time with NAV. He's a really good talker. Dallas Moore, as a manager at SOM, they use us very greatly.
Yeah, I mean, Dallas is a cheater. They stole lottery tickets from Evan Golden. I mean, the guy's a crook.
Wow.
They paid a referee off.
The guy, he calls you a
The
crook.
guy Dallas paid a referee to get the hybrid championship.
Dallas paid the referee to win a championship.
Oh, absolutely. He's been suspended.
Oh, wow. Oh, man, you're going to make me cry, Chris, because you're talking about some of my favorite guys. Don was great. Ron White with Dirty White Boy was so hilarious, especially when Ron was in the wheelchair and had all his health issues.
Yeah, Ron Wright.
That was some good stuff. Dallas says, "You call it cheating, I call it investing."
Well, if our general manager would Tim or Malik would suspend Dallas and strip Brendan Moore of the belt, or Brandon Moore, I'm sorry.
There you go. There you go. Well, we're at the part. We've been on for an hour and 12 minutes, man. I could probably talk to you for another 2 hours because I love old school talk and I love talking about wrestling. But it is 10 o'clock and I'm an old guy and it's getting past my bedtime. But we have a few more questions, so we're going to stick around for a few more minutes. Are you still good?
Yeah, I'm fine. It's way past my bedtime too. My alarm went off.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. My dad wants to know, what kind of training do referees go through?
Well, we do. Most of our wrestlers will ref matches during their training, so they understand it, and especially if they work with some older guys, so they can watch the older guy call the matches in the ring. You learn a whole hell of a lot being a referee.
I was gonna say some of my good friends that are wrestling right now that's been in the business for about 6-7 years. When I first got into independent wrestling and doing the podcast, they all started out as referees, and they're doing spectacular. It makes sense to me as a fan to start them off as a referee because you get to see every angle. And the rules, of course, you learn the rules because, there are rules to wrestling, whether people don't know it or not. It gives you a different perspective. So you get both sides of the coin. And I think that's a really good thing. Missy said, "Please ask, do you feel like valets and managers need to be trained to walk guys out?"
Of course.
I mean, you would think that would be one of the simplest things in the world to walk out a tag
It's
team.
not. It's not. In fact, we got a guy now that I'm training, and I told him before we started their match on Sunday, do not go out till I give you your cue. And what's he do? As soon as the match started, he's out. And I'm like, when he came back to the car, I'm like, what are you doing? So yeah, they need to be trained, and we do announcer training. I mean, our God rest soul, Bob, he came with us, and that's what we did. We trained him to do commentary. So we do everything at the school. And two, if you want ring time, and don't let anybody tell you don't come, blah blah blah. Man, we have some great people there teaching. You can learn so much. Don't get into the negative stuff.
When you go to any school, you have to realize that there are people in front of you that have already been there, that are already training, who are going to be first in line to see ring time, just like any other show.
Yeah.
I mean,
Listen,
you're
you
gonna
don't
get
hear
mad,
James Green. Now, obviously, I've been a wrestler. I've never made my living wrestling.
right?
Okay. And yes, I've wrestled enough where I can teach people things. Okay. But I didn't make I don't make my living wrestling. We have trainers that make their living wrestling. If you go to, there's no schools but Tom Pritchard's and School of Morton in East Tennessee. If
Right.
you go to one of these other places and the guy never made his living wrestling, okay? I mean, what are you going to learn from a guy that's never been there, done that?
Right.
And that's why I've always had like Jimmy Valiant, Ricky Morton, and those kind of people around. And, you know, and we've had all kinds of people come to the school, from Kane to Road Warrior Animal to Bobby Eaton, you know, Kid Cash, and just on and on. I can't even name everybody that's been EC3. Let me tell you something. EC3 did one of the best seminars this past year that we have ever had. He was there for 4 days. He worked his ass off. I mean, it's unbelievable. Okay. But I'm going to tell you something else. We're going to do this later this year. Is Mike Quackenbush.
Okay.
Okay, here's how bad I am on modern wrestling. I didn't even know who in the hell he was. Okay, Scott Elliott set that up. And because of the hurricane, we had to cancel the first one. So he came in, and I know there was a lot of comments. Are these seminars money grabs? Guess how much money we made off of Mike Quackenbush coming to the school?
How much?
0.
Oh, man.
You know why? Do you know why?
Why?
Because he lost his plane ticket because we had to cancel from the hurricane.
Oh,
Okay,
wow.
so I told him, I said, listen, you just come and you collect all the money to make up for your ticket. So he did. He was there for 3 or 4 days. He did 10 classes. And I'm telling you, man, this guy is so awesome. I mean, literally, he's one of the better seminars that I have ever seen. I'll have him back, and I don't give a shit if I make a quarter. He's just good for the boys. I mean, seriously.
Hey, if he's a good teacher, he's worth it.
See, that's the problem with East Tennessee and all these other idiots out there that want to talk shit about School of Morton. They don't even know what in the hell they're talking about. You know, they just want to run their mouths, you know, so they can talk and try to put us down or whatever they're attempting to do. Right. But yeah, I made no money. Okay. Not a quarter. Now, did the guys come in and pay? But yeah, Mike Quackenbush deserved the money.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, he's the guy that got in there.
If you're teaching and you're teaching well, he's worth the money. I mean,
listen, what he did, it was unbelievable. Okay. I mean, it was one of the best seminars I've ever seen. Okay, and I'm telling you, I've had Road Warrior Animal come in and do a seminar.
Wow.
Okay, so he went, and we had the 2 guys, Anderson and Gallows, were there and did a seminar.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I'll tell you another guy that was great too is Effie. Effie came in and did a seminar, and he was really good too. Yes. Wow. He teaches a lot of stuff about social media and gimmicks and that kind of thing, selling your gimmick. That kind of stuff. Yeah. So we've had some really good seminars. Mike Quackenbush definitely will have back. And what a seminar, man. He taught the guy. I'll tell you who came, and I don't know if you know this guy, but the guy's been in the wrestling business for 20-something years or more. Menace,
yes.
Yeah, and when I came in, I'm like, dude, why are you here? He goes, well, Mike Quackenbush is here. I want this. What's that tell you about that guy?
Yeah, that guy's really good if he's there watching him and trying to learn something. Wow.
Yeah, no, he actually paid for the classes and came and took the classes.
Wow.
Okay.
He's worth every penny, whatever you paid him. Credence and Mikey want to know, what do you think of backyard wrestling?
I don't.
I knew I was expecting a little worse than that, but okay.
Well, my thing is who, you know, I'm going to drop a F-bomb. Is that okay?
As long as you don't make it a habit, that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. My thing is who gives a fuck.
Right. Missy said, "Does the mailman Curtis Thompson ever drop by to see you guys?"
I don't know who that is.
Uh-oh. Missy, you don't know who he is. I was scared of that answer. I was scared of that. I thought it was going to be a lot worse than it was. He just said, "I didn't. I don't."
But listen, if anybody does want to sign up for any training, go to theschoolofmorton.com or message us on Facebook at SOM505. Okay, any questions you have about what we do or what we offer. I think I have one of the best trainers in the world. Well, obviously, if Ricky Morton's going to be there some and working with you, I mean, that's valuable as it could ever be. And then with Kenzie Page, listen, Kenzie is great. Okay, great attitude. I mean, she can go in the ring. No doubt she's the best. And Tom Pritchard and Ricky Morton trained her. So, you know, you're going to get.
You said there was a couple of people to get in contact with also. Is that?
Yeah, if you want to get booked on our show, it's Casey Kazana and Evan Tolley.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Without a doubt, man. That is great. Well, sir, we have been going for an hour and 21 minutes. I appreciate you coming on. It's been a while since I went an hour and 21 minutes without any interruptions, and you did great. Everybody loved asking questions. Got one more. Got a couple more. Okay, well, I guess we're not going anywhere just yet. Curtis hasn't been by while I was there, said Brittany Diamond. And Jack Morgan wants to know, what do you think of Ricky going to UIW?
I don't know what UIW is.
I don't know. He said, Mike, he said, we're having a good show. He enjoyed the show. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. I appreciate that a lot.
Okay, I have to tell you something, Scott. Do you know this is the first podcast I've ever did?
Is that right?
It sure is.
Well, I enjoyed having you here, man. And it's I wish the School of Morton all the luck in the world, man. And I know that a lot of great talent has come through those doors, left. Whether they stayed long enough to get anywhere or what have you. I know a lot of wrestlers from my area that have been there and enjoyed all of it. I mean, IMR still tells me stories about, what you guys did up there with NAV and all them guys and the Omnish and all that stuff that they went through with them. And I'm telling you, it's good. You guys if you're a fan out there and you're watching this, if you're a fan of professional wrestling, you got to check out School of Morton. If you're in East Tennessee, go see it in person. Go buy the ticket. Go see the show in person. But they do show it on Facebook. It's 505 Live, right?
Yeah. And if you want to watch our YouTube show, if you want to watch that match between the Amish and NAV, it's called Overdrive. But you have to be a member of our page on YouTube. And please, if you do, it's only $4 and something. And it does. I mean, it's a little bit of money. It pays the bills at the school. And two, we hadn't talked about this, and I don't want to keep you, Scott.
No, go ahead. No, if you're willing to go, I'm willing to go. Let's go.
We have our new facility. We moved from our building in Chuckey, Tennessee, and we're now in Newport, Tennessee, and we're in a strip mall at the Family Dollar. And right in a strip mall with Little Caesars. Listen, that place is awesome. When I walk in it, I'm like, wow, this is our place. We have 2 rings set up for training. We have weights for the shows. We have areas for the guys set up their gimmicks. We've got a lot of other stuff planned, to do. The only thing about our building that I don't like is our dressing room area is a little bit too small.
Right.
We're going to figure that out and fix it.
There's always one thing. It's all grand, but there's always that one thing, right?
Oh, yeah. But we'll fix that for the boys. So,
yeah. Oh, without a doubt.
Boys and girls.
Well, you got a lot of people who love this interview. I'm glad you did it. I've enjoyed this, Missy said. My dad said, have him back. I learned a lot. And my dad doesn't say that to too many people. So
what did he say?
Blade Gibson said, get some SOM. So there you go. Missy said it's well worth the money. Jack Morgan said Ricky worked a headlock for 15 minutes one night there.
That's the
Talking
truth.
about IUW. He said it's underground independent wrestling. Used to run in Forest City. I believe Ricky worked on a headlock for 15 minutes. I do believe that.
Well, he said he can work a punch for 20.
Right?
Hit him one time, he worked it for 20 minutes.
That's like George taking 30 minutes to take off his jacket before a match.
Well, yeah. George is great.
Uh-oh,
My
wait a
wife
minute.
is on here now.
I was about to say, wait a minute, how are you? But that must be Miss Lisa then.
It is. Yeah.
Hello, Miss Lisa. Thank you for coming on #Truth. Your husband has been great answering our questions and stuff. She said, don't forget Blake Gibson and Evan Golden. They are phenomenal. You did great, babe. I love you. There you go.
Well,
And the address is 128 5 Rivers Plaza, Newport, Tennessee.
Yes. Talk about Blake Gibson really quick.
Okay,
He's
go ahead.
another fantastic talent.
Yes.
Okay. When he came to the school, I looked at him. I'm like, this
A
kid's
stiff wind would blow him
amazing.
30 miles, right?
Yes. But then he gets in the ring and he sells as good as Ricky Morton. Okay.
Oh, yeah, he does.
The guy is phenomenal. And we're going to do big things with Blake Gibson. Okay.
I hope so.
He is fantastic. Then when Evan Golden came, the first time I looked at him, I'm like, Golden, because I'm great friends with Jimmy. Okay. Me and him are big buddies.
Okay.
And I said, you got to be Eddie Golden's kid. And he's like, I am. I don't know if you know who Eddie Golden is, but Eddie Golden's an old timer from back in the day. And it's like, and he worked for me at Rocky Top.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, damn, this is crazy. I've got Eddie Golden's kid working for me now.
Wasn't Eddie Golden part of he used to wrestle at Continental, didn't he?
He did, yeah. He sure
He was
did.
part of the Tennessee stable, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, he was with
believe
Jimmy.
he was
Him
part
and
of
Jimmy
Ron
Golden.
Tennessee
Him and
stable.
Jimmy Golden tagged together.
Yeah.
They both had the gold robes and all that stuff.
Yeah, I believe he was part of the
Listen,
I'm going to
his
go and grab my
Eddie
videos
is
and
a
see if
great
I'm right.
wrestler. Hey, but the only thing you can ask Eddie or ask Evan, and you can look it up on Rocky Top, how hard did I hit Eddie across the head with a kendo stick?
Oh. Did it blow up?
No, it didn't blow up. It blew him up.
Oh, okay.
I didn't realize I hit him that hard, but I guess I did.
Miss Lisa said, all are welcome. Can't wait. Now, I'm going to ask you this question because she came on here, reminded you of two great wrestlers, put the address up there. Is it true behind every great man is a great woman? Because I'm seeing that right here.
Okay, man. We've been married 42 years.
Woo! Okay.
Yeah.
I thought
Yeah,
I was
we did.
special. Me and my wife's coming up on 20 pretty soon, but wow. Okay.
Yeah, I've got a good one.
Yes, you do. I have to say that. Missy said, love Eddie Golden. He is one of my favorites. He wrestled at APW. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Brian T.Y. Rivers said, what's up, y'all? Long time no talk. Hope y'all are doing well. We are. We're doing
Hope
great.
you're doing great, Brian. Good to hear from you. Long time.
Missy Childers said, congratulations. So, but let me ask you this, and then we'll go ahead and call it over. What would you give? What advice would you give somebody? Now, I know I don't want to say, when I ask this, I don't mean that every person who has $10 in their pocket go and start a wrestling company or go start but what advice would you give somebody who is very serious about starting a wrestling school or a wrestling company? What advice would you give them?
Don't do it.
Don't do it. It's that much of a headache.
It can be. It can be. Well, see, I'll tell you this quickly, so we can go.
No, you good, man.
But
go ahead.
yeah, I'm a wrestler at heart.
Okay.
I want to be in the ring, but my body won't let me anymore. I'm too old. And I sit there most Sundays when we do production, and I'm doing production a lot of times, and I'm thinking, what the heck am I doing here? I'm not having any fun.
Lisa said yes. She agrees
Yeah.
with you.
Oh, yeah. It's like, why am I doing this? Because I'm not making any money at it, really. Okay.
Is it for the love? Is it for the love of wrestling?
For me, it's just a passion, man. I've been a huge fan. I tell you who I talked to today, and we're going to book him to come up.
Okay.
Is Ron Fuller.
Oh, okay.
And man, I'm a big Southeastern mark, and I grew up during that era. And we used to go. I actually have photos that I sent to Ron of him and Harley Race working at the Knoxville Coliseum that I took on a camera that I still have. Okay. And, we were just, me and a group of guys I went to school with were just huge fans. And we used to go all the time to go watch the matches. They did such a great job presenting. I think that was the greatest era of wrestling, was in the 70s.
Missy wants to know, can you get Jimmy Garvin?
I know Jimmy, but I don't know if he would come. I don't know. You have to reach out.
She just wants to hear the song. She just
Hey,
wants
listen, obviously, if whoever you pay, they'll come. I love it when promoters go, well, I had AJ Styles on my show. Well, yeah, you paid him.
Right? Yeah. How much did
That's
you
why
pay
he
him?
came.
How many mortgages did you take out?
He didn't come because he liked you. He came because you got your checkbook out.
Exactly. How many mortgages did you take out to get AJ Styles on that show? Let me tell you. Todd Nelson on YouTube. Thank you guys for coming on YouTube, man. I appreciate that. I was stationed with James in Menoit, North Dakota. Super guy.
Thank you, Todd. We were stationed in the military together. That's one of my
I'm ex-Navy. So what
I was in the Air Force.
He was in the Air Force? Okay, good deal. My dad was a 11-year Marine. I was a 4-year squid. And I've got a daughter who did 7 years in the Army. So we
appreciate your service.
Yeah. Oh, I appreciate your service, man. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have been there. So but I love the old school wrestlers. So anytime I see a name like that, like Jimmy Garvin and all these guys we're talking about, I would love to come see them, because that's what I grew up watching, man, was all the Southeast, like you said, the territories in the South. Them were the funnest to watch, man, when I was growing up. And I even lived up in Wisconsin and was watching Southern wrestling. I mean, people would be like, well, why aren't you watching, the wrestling from up here? Because it's not as fun to watch. There's a huge difference in the Southern wrestling than the Northern wrestling. It's a lot slower paced. It's a lot slower paced, and the matches, they tell more of a story, in my opinion.
Yeah, true.
So
Southern wrestling is a lot different.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I keep telling our guys we want to produce Southern wrestling, not WWE. You can't compete with those guys, man. The matches, or how they present. They're worried about selling dolls and T-shirts, and and they do entertain. I watched Raw the other night. I thought it was great on Netflix.
Yes,
the matches were awesome.
If they'll keep it up, well, they got to have more than 5 matches, though. But other than that,
I love Rhea Ripley. So,
Rhea Ripley's awesome. My daughter loves Rhea Ripley, man. She is a huge.
She's my favorite right now.
Okay, I got you. I'm more of a Bailey guy, but okay. I like Bailey myself, but there's a lot of great wrestlers up there in WWE, man. Does it make? I got to ask you this, man. Are you like a proud papa when you see somebody from the school make it and get a contract on NXT or TNA, or does your chest swell up a little bit and go, yeah, we trained that guy?
Yeah, no, it's great to see. I know Ricky's really proud of Kid Cash, and he trained Chase Owens too.
Right.
Which, Chase Owens was our head trainer for a long time. Chase is just an absolute great talent. He's a good guy too. Really super guy.
Oh, see that's so. I'd love to come up. I'd love to come up there and see one live. I haven't been able to get up there and see one live. There's a couple of shows up in Tennessee that I want to get up to. I'm disabled, so my wife has to drive. South Carolina won't allow me to have my license because of how sick I am.
Well, you need to come up because our place is a museum.
I would love to. I would love to. I've seen
when the
pictures
guy-
of all
when the
these
guy
guys
came
going
from-
in and taking the pictures of the walls and all that. It's like, man, look at all that.
You know, Sapolsky from WWE was at our school here a few months ago. Man, when he came in, and this was the old school, and he was like, "Oh my God, this is unbelievable." He walked around for 30 minutes before he got
Oh, yeah.
started with anything,
Oh,
looking
yeah.
at photos. and-
Just looking at the posters and the pictures and all that. Oh, yes. I
we
can
have
do that.
so much memorabilia that's unbelievable. We
Oh,
really
man.
do. It's
And
crazy.
like you said, some of the people that come in and train that are, been in the business for 20 years. I mean, imagine sitting down and talking with Ricky Morton for 20, 30 minutes and the stories he could tell.
Well, Kenzie Page will say it best. Where else have you got a facility like ours where you can come and work out? I mean, even guys that have been in the business a while and have been trained, if you want to come and get ring time, $20, and you can get in with our people or just come and get in the ring. We got 2 rings, so you can work out all you want to.
Missy said, I love Jimmy Garvin and Precious. I would die happy if you could get Jimmy. And she said, I keep trying to get Chris, her husband, to hit his head and wake up thinking he's Jimmy. Good luck with that, Missy. All right, sir. It has been a pleasure having you on. It was a pleasure having your wife on, Miss Lisa. Thank you for coming on and spending some time on hashtag. Everybody who showed up, even little Donnie showed up to say hey, if you guys missed that. Missy, your wife, everybody that showed up. I had a great time tonight, and I love talking like this. I would love to have you back on in the future, sir. And talk about more things that are going on with School of Morton, especially if you move again or if you go back to North Carolina. I'm pretty sure there'll be a bunch of stories.
Hopefully, we're not going to move. I'm too old to move anymore.
Oh, okay. I got you. I got you.
Yeah, the bunkhouse will not be live. You'll be able to watch it the next day. You'll be able to watch it as a member on YouTube.
Okay, there you go. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to watch the bunkhouse from 505 SOM, you got to watch it the next day on YouTube. So
you can watch it live if you come to the school.
Well,
buy a ticket.
There you go.
You can see it live.
Without a doubt. And that's the best. And that's the best way to watch a show, ladies and gentlemen, is to go live. Independent. I'm telling you. And if you're watching this and you're just a casual fan, if you love watching WWE on TV, NXT, AEW, you will get the same enjoyment coming and watching an independent wrestling show. If you go to the right shows now, I will say that. I have to be real. SOM, a few other shows out there. You go in and it's better. To me, it's better because you're right up there by the ring. You see what the wrestlers are doing, and it's just fun, and they interact a lot more. It's not just a few hand slaps before you go into the ring. Independent wrestlers love to heckle you and kiss the babies and sign autographs at their baby faces. They're taught that, and it's just great to see it live. Would you agree?
Oh yeah, much better.
Without a doubt. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and call this a day. We have got Dump Truck coming on Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. And we also have, my mind just went blank, Lazarus Black on Friday night at 7 o'clock. This was a special time, 9 o'clock, because James didn't get off work till 7. Thank you, James, for staying up with us and answering all our questions, man. And if you are a professional wrestler, please look up 505 Live SOM on Facebook. Get a hold of them if you really want to be trained the right way, and call and find out all the information that you need to know and get in there, because you just heard all these name dropped of all these great people who who are training you, and you're going to get trained the right way, the proper way, to know everything from the hard cam to entrances to they teach you everything, how to promo. He was just telling you that, you know, they've got a guy from the theater there to teach you how to talk. So if you got a little charisma, they're going to really make you look good. So go and check out 505 Live, and you can't go wrong. And that is the hashtag truth. We'll see you guys Wednesday night with Dump Truck.
All right.